Last time on Ohio Home and Garden, Larry Schottenstein helped us find a house with resale potential.
All right, we have one more house to see here in Victorian Village, and this one I'm really excited about. It's 3,000 plus square feet. I have my 3 big rooms downstairs, and now look at this, my kitchen. It's really a beautiful, clean slate. I got a big bedroom here, which I could use for my master. Just literally connect it in or take this wall out and make this the connection to the master bathroom walk-in closet area.
Bryce Jacob of Dave Fox Remodeling came on board, and the Dave Fox designers drew up some designs to bring our classic home into the 21st century.
How did you deal with one of the bizarre parts of the house, because it's old, is there's no half bath. So how did you figure that out?
Okay, we had a wonderful storage in the back that was really pretty far from the main working area.
Right.
So if we had it's just big enough, we could put a little commode in there for you.
Today on OHG, we get wired with Sphere Electrical. Controlled air solutions helps us heat things up. Our kitchen gets framed, and classic plumbing makes our pipe dreams a reality. All this and more today on OHG.
As you can see, we've got a lot going on in our house today, from the electrical work going in to a couple changes that were maybe a little unexpected here. I've got John Suits, our project manager. John, I see we've got a change here because of the HVAC that went in. Tell us why you angled the wall.
What we did, we had to get some duct work upstairs, and rather than having an ugly pipe and exposed in the middle of this nice room here, what we did is built what's called a chase to hide the duct work, and instead of boxing it in and just making a square, we went in an angle to soften this corner up a little bit. As you can see, Bryce, over here we have some framing on this wall. What we've done here is we've created a chase to allow air to return back to the furnace. This is a return air cavity, and what happens is we've sealed this to the wall, and the drywall will go over this framing, and it'll create the cavity for the pocket for the air to move back to the furnace.
Great. Now I noticed that you pulled the studs off of this exterior wall a little bit. It looks like it might be flush with the old wall here by the fireplace.
Right, that's correct. And a lot of times in existing homes, what you have is walls aren't really particularly plumb and square, and so a lot of times what we do is we pull framing off the walls to try to get the walls plumbed up. And in this case, we're going over this area with drywall, so this framing is even with that.
Though our walls are in good condition, our designers have called for a dropped ceiling as well as a niche for hanging lights, which means a certain amount of reframing is necessary. The new ceiling begins to take shape. After lots of leveling and careful adjustments, nail guns are used to make sure that the new ceiling stays where it's supposed to. And now, an OHG special tip. With all the excitement of starting a new project, it can be easy to get carried away. Make sure you acquire the necessary permits before you start any repairs or renovations. Also, OHG has trained professionals to do all the work you see. If you do not have the proper training as well as the right tools, you should not try this at home.
Wow, this thing sure is a mess.
Well, it's really not as bad as I've seen before, Bryce. What you see here is very typical in this age of a house. Mm-hmm. You know, an older panel, a lot of wire kind of going everywhere. We got a mixture of new wire, old wire. We're going to go ahead and pull that out, and we're going to upgrade the panel to a newer style. We're going to increase the total ampacity to the panel to 200 amps and basically run new wiring through the basement as well. You know, when it was built, the knob and tube wiring was what was used, and of course now with the new codes we can't keep that in the house. So we're going to pull that out again where it's exposed to the house, and there's several examples through the house where we're going to do that. Well, Bryce, this is where the electrical service comes into the house. You can see that it's old and it's really only sized for about 100 amps worth of power to the house. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this up to a 200 amp service. Okay. We're going to replace all this material. For the residents, the homeowner, it actually starts here at the house. This is what they're responsible for. The utility company brings it to the house, but once it hits the house, as you can see up there, that's called the demarcation point. It's really the responsibility of the homeowner at this point to do the work to bring it up to code. We had to install a top of stairs light as well as a smoke detector for this floor, for this hallway. And that is actually a building code. That's not necessarily an electrical code. And they're really enforcing that in the last couple of years, that if you do any remodeling in the house, those smoke detectors are installed. In here, we've got some recessed cans. We had some unique lighting arrangements in here. You know, the installation of a recessed can inside the shower was a little different. That can actually has to be watertight, so we'll install a lens that keeps it watertight so that it's functional light inside the shower, but again meets the National Electric Codes. Let me show you one of the challenges that we had to overcome here in the house for meeting a National Electric Code. We have to have a light on the front porch. And to get a light out there, there wasn't one existing, so we actually had to fish some wiring to it. You can see up here, we had the ceiling open for some other circuits that we were routing through the house, so rather than tear up the front porch, we took advantage of having this open, and we basically routed a circuit out through the opening here to get out to the front porch.
I'm heading out back to check on Chris Benedetto from Controlled Air Systems. He's taken out the old air condenser and putting in a new Westinghouse condenser now.
Hey,
Chris,
Bryce.
how's it going?
Good, good. Just
Good.
setting the new pad to set the new air conditioner on, just leveling her up.
Now, why is it you're going with the new pad? I see it looks like, was it an old pad here?
Yeah, it's old and yeah, it looked a little roughed up. Why not give them a new fresh pad with a new fresh air conditioner is how I look at it.
That's a good idea.
I thought so.
As you can see, these solid concrete pads are
Watch yourself.
very heavy and not too pretty to look at, so we'll just get rid of this.
Okay.
Ah!
Well, seeing as you look like you've been doing a little working out and you threw that concrete pad like it was nothing, how about help me with this air conditioner? We can set it on the pad.
Yeah, that always happens when I do that. I'll give you a hand, though.
All right, just give me a push.
Sure thing. There we go.
All right. Okay.
There you go.
That's pretty close. That's pretty close there.
Oh, good. Now, how do you connect this to the house, Chris?
We have copper refrigeration lines, Bryce, that tie into here. We have a low voltage wire we tie in, and of course our high voltage.
Now, the low voltage, this is for the thermostat?
Yes, the thermostat, this tells the air conditioner to come on and the blower in the furnace to come on. This is what operates that.
And then your high voltage is what actually fires this baby
Right,
up.
that's what turns the
Very good.
compressor, and that's in that disconnect box, which happens to be code. We have to have those on. So.
All right. Now, how's the furnace coming downstairs? We
Real
making
good.
progress there?
Would you like to go down and see?
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
just
Could
do
use
that.
it on a day like today.
Yeah, it's a little chilly. All right, Bryce, let me show you where we came through outside here. We had to core bore through the brick to get our refrigeration lines out here. And we had to drill through one of these floor joists, which we were allowed to do structurally because the joist actually sits on this wall. So we don't want to violate any codes that way or anything structural.
No, we don't.
And we're basically just going to strap these two together with the low voltage wire. I like to keep it up tight, and we'll have our PVC lines that come off of here that'll run out. That'll be the vent that goes on out through the band board.
Okay.
We also have got the air filter. I like using the media filter. I like to date them when I install them.
Now, as far as the ductwork in here, I see Patrick working on something back here. It looks like he might be ready to put a new piece on.
We're starting our supply right here. Before you hang that, Patrick, we have a brace in the way. Step aside, please. I'm going to do a little hammer action here. Watch yourself.
Yeah.
These old houses. Okay, now we can go.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and stick this on. Let me help you out there, Patrick. Very good. These are called drives, and they keep the ductwork together. There's one. Aha!
Just
There's
like that, huh?
Yes, sir. There you go.
Well, now that the framing is done, we're ready to move on to the next phase of the project. I'm standing in the upstairs full bathroom, actually what will be the shower. Our plumber has joined us today, and he's got someone drilling holes in our floor. Now tell me, what do you guys do when you come into an old house like this that has old plumbing? You survey it, we're putting new space in like this. How do you know to get started?
Well, we're pretty lucky with this job here because it's already demoed out, all the walls are gone, so we're able to come in and start working right away.
Now we're on the second floor. Why is it we're starting up here with your project as opposed to starting in the basement where all the water comes into the house?
Well, it's kind of easier for us to get started up on the second floor because we had to find a good path to the basement.
Now we saw Ian working in the shower, you know, putting our holes in the floor, and now he's doing more holes over here, and obviously it's for the toilet. Tell me what he's preparing to do.
In a residential home, the FHA codes require that it be 15 inches from finished wall to center of the toilet, and on a commercial application you'd have to have it from finished wall to center 18 inches. So there is a little bit of a difference there. Here in this location of the toilet here, we have a lot of room to work with on the wall, so we're going to go ahead and hold it at an 18 inches off the finished wall to give them a little more room to use the toilet.
You know, Dennis, I just noticed what Ian put in as a plastic flange. Is that what we're going to be using through the house as plastic?
Actually, no, we're just using that for a temporary. We're going to use cast iron pipe. We can keep the drains in cast iron and keep the noise down so that you can't hear the water running through the drains.
Is there much of a cost difference between cast iron and PVC?
There is. There's a huge difference. It's almost 3 times as much.
Well, you guys, it looks like you've got a good handle on the master bathroom, and now we're in the full bathroom adjacent to it upstairs. What are you guys facing in here? It looks like you kind of got your hands full.
Yeah, we're looking at the existing bathroom in the house, and we're looking at demoing out the old plumbing that was in here.
By touching the old stack, we might run into some issues with roof leaking, or it might drop down. We'll have to get up in the attic and really check it out, make sure that everything's secure up there.
It looks like it's touching this wood here. The stud here helped support it as we cut it. Probably had to cut it back here, Ian, wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
Cut it here.
If we do that, we can probably reuse the whole stack up and out if it's not cracked or leaking anywhere.
Bryce, we're downstairs on the first floor, and this is the wall that the stack is in. And as you can see, the stack had been leaking at one time, and there looks like there has been a repair to it. And this stack right here has a sanitary tee on its side, and a new coach today will not allow us to do that. So we have to get rid of this stack for 2 reasons: to get rid of that tee on its side, and also we're not real sure if this is not leaking still today.
We'll be right back.
I'm heading downstairs to check on Chris Benedetto from Controlled Air to see how he's coming with the rough. And hey, Chris.
Hey, Bryce.
Looks like you're putting the zoning in too.
Yes, sir. We sure are. We're got the RZL zone board up. Got some low voltage wires coming into it. This is basically the brains of the zoning. So basically, this tells the furnace to come on, tells the dampers to open up or close per floor.
Okay.
So to say the thermostat on the 3rd floor says, hey, I want it to be 72. This tells this furnace come on, opens the dampers, takes all the air to the 3rd floor.
So now you said there's dampers that go in here that this communicates to. Do you have a sample of a damper
I sure
to show
do.
us? I'm in the way, huh?
No, you're fine, you're fine. Right here's a little cutaway view. We got some ductwork. We haven't hooked up here yet, so this actually will mount in the bottom of the duct. And I've got a piece of tubing, which is what this is. It's got a little pump inside this RZL board, and it's basically all pneumatic. It's all by air. And
So it's that easy, huh?
yeah, it opens and shuts.
Poof of air.
Yep. Yeah, remember earlier, Bryce, we were in the basement. I was talking about the pathways that I need to get my ductwork up to the 2nd and 3rd floor. Now, here's a possibility here. There's a closet, which I'll show you here in a minute, on the back side of this wall. But we possibly can double the wall up, give me some room for supply and return ducting.
Okay.
Another one of our options is over here. We have a chase. It's big enough. Plumber doesn't need it. I'd like to use it if possible. So those are our 2 spots. There is a window underneath here. Don't want to take away from the window in the dining room. And then again, over here, there's a pocket door underneath the closet. So I've got to do a little investigating to make sure we can maybe get the duct there and still not take the integrity away from the downstairs or lose the pocket door for that matter. So let's take a look at the closet, Bryce.
Okay.
As you can see, they're pretty small. But then again, you can only do so much in some of these. What's nice is you've got the thickness of this wall here. So a lot of times we can take, some of the drywall plaster out, plug our ductwork in there and get up to where we need to get.
Upstairs, controlled air is making a box with a stack to connect with. Sometimes called a spider, this box will disperse heat and air conditioning throughout the third floor. To create the ducts, pieces of sheet metal are cut, crimped and coupled together. This gives the ducts their flexibility. They are then drilled into place. As a finishing touch, they use everyone's favorite tool, duct tape.
Morning, Jeff. I'm here with Jeff of Controlled Air, and what Jeff's doing right now is he's going to be cutting the opening to get down to the first floor for the air return. That's going to actually go up through this wall and to the third floor, which is going to allow us to get that cold air return really coming through this wall. So we've decided that the easiest way to do this is to fur this wall out, create a chase, and that's what Jeff's doing here, is he's cutting through the floor. All right, well, I won't hold you up. I'm going to go over here and show what we've done in the closet to accommodate the stack, which is really where all the heat is going to come up and the air is going to travel up to the third floor. And we decided to use this closet as opposed to other areas. It does take up the closet space. It's not our favorite solution, but it's necessary for getting everything to travel with the current space in the home. Come on over here in the bathroom. I'll show you what we've had to do to run it through the ceiling. Now you can see as we come here into the bathroom where we actually had to open up the wall so the guys could have access to cut through the ceiling here. You can also see up here where we did take it over the top. This goes into the third floor attic space, and then we're going to attach flex ductwork that's going to go out and feed the area and provide the heat and the air upstairs. This does create a little bit of a design challenge from what we had planned. The interior designer had pendant lights dropping down from this area where now there's this piece of ductwork. So we'll have to just soften that in and come up with another solution. Well, I'm heading up to the third floor right now where Controlled Air has been hard at work putting ductwork in. The third floor really hasn't been usable space previously in this home. You can see from the old drywall and everything, it really wasn't done properly. By running heat and air up here, we'll be able to use this space for whether it be an office or just a multi-purpose area. If there are children, it's a great area to send them to play. But over here you can see where the guys have been hard at work. Downstairs you may recall where I pointed out that we had a cold air return coming up the wall and across the ceiling. This is actually where the cold air return will come through on this floor. And then over here is where you actually see that the air is going to come out, which is the heat and the air conditioning in the summer. So they're using ductwork much like this here, but they had to put the unit behind the wall here, which is the attic space. As we go over here, open this closet, which is our access to the attic. As we look into the attic here, you can see where they've created a box that actually takes the air from downstairs and it brings it up into the attic. They've got these different units off here to really help divert the air once it comes up into the main box. And they've got this wonderful flex ductwork that's used for tight spaces like this to get around corners and really difficult areas to work in. They actually tie it right on here, feeds the different areas throughout the room to get heat and air into the space. But you might have remembered yesterday when we were looking at the wall, well, that was a wall here. We have the old cast iron pipes leading upstairs to the second floor. It looks like Ian over at Classic Plumbing has pulled that out, and I hear him making some noise down in the basement. Why don't we go check on him and see how he's coming? Hey Ian, how's it going?
Hey Bryce, how you doing?
Good.
Just finishing up cutting the stack off here. If you give me a second, I'll be with you in just a minute.
Okay. There we go. Looks like that did the job, huh?
Yep.
Will you just tie onto this piece that's sticking out now with new?
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll put a clean out on here, run it up, catch our upstairs. We're going to run back through where the old stack was.
Okay, right up through here?
Yes.
All right, great.
And then we've got a line coming across here, and that's going to catch the master and the half bath on the first floor.
Heard you got some news from the gas company this
A
morning.
little bit of bad news. The house lines were leaking, and the service line coming in was leaking. It's the homeowner's responsibility if there is any leaks from the curb stop all the way into the house, into the meter. Also, it's there was a gas leak on the house lines, but with the age of the house lines and the corrosion and stuff, we're going to go ahead and just probably cut all those out and run new lines.
Well, we'd love to have new lines in here. I hate to have to get that on the account of a leak.
Yeah.
But that'll be nice to get. Now, from here, this is your shut-off valve, is that
Yes.
right? To the service that's coming in?
Correct.
So we want to work with that off, obviously. But from this point, somewhere out to the street is where you're saying there's a leak
Yes.
as well. I noticed that you got a lot of cast iron here on the floor, a couple different sizes, and man, is that stuff heavy. What do you have planned for it today?
Well, the 3-inch line here, that's going to be the toilet waste lines, and that's going to for the main flow, and then the 2-inch is just for the sinks and the showers. The reason we're putting in cast iron is it's a little more quiet. You don't get the water flow down through your walls that you would hear with PVC.
Yeah.
So, but it's a little more difficult to install. And a little more difficult to cut. I'll show you, I got a piece over here I'm getting ready to cut, and I'll show you how we do that.
Wow, this doesn't look much like a saw blade to me.
No, this is called a chain snapper, and what it does is it's got steel rollers on it, and what it does is it's a controlled break. It crushes the pipe around where those steel rollers are.
Okay.
And makes a nice clean break all the way around.
It's a nice clean snap right on there.
You wouldn't think that it would break that cleanly, but
No, it's hard to believe.
the wheels allow it to
Yeah,
snap.
that's great. So now this piece is going to go in here.
Yeah, come on, I'll show you where
Okay.
it goes. We'll take it in here and put it in.
That'll be great. So it's going right up in here, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
What we're gonna do is, if you can give me a hand here,
Sure.
we'll slide it through these hangers.
Okay. I got another one over here. Oop. There we go.
And put it into these couplings.
Okay.
Now on regular PVC, we would use a cleaner and a solvent, but with cast iron, we use these bands, and they're a rubber band with a stainless steel outer band. We'll put the rubber gasket on, and then slide the stainless steel band right over top of it. It's got these nuts here that you tighten down, and they'll tighten down to 60 psi.
And that'll do it. That's all you need to do, really, is just tighten that gasket on there with the band.
That's it.
All right. So that does kind of make it quick work as opposed to working with PVC. When
Right.
you join PVC, there's a little bit more
You don't-
labor intense there, but
Correct. You don't have to wait for the glue to set up or anything like that. As soon as you put it together, you can start running water through it.
This episode of OHG is brought to you by See you next time.
and even more shape will be having taken, and then you'll start to see some things with the project. I'm going to do that over. Here you can see where the main line actually takes. I'm going to start over. I'm going to start over. Jimmy Hoffa's been hiding out in our attic. Here from the May 18th, I'm going to start over. So Brian, what is? Let me do it again. As the first step. Did you want to go beyond that?
Start walking towards it.
All right. I'm having a hard time. I hate filming in the cold. We should have done this in the summer.